One of the greatest things about being on Farm to Fork is I get to travel all over the country, meeting different people and discovering different farms. And I've landed in northern Tasmania today in Forth, and I'm going to meet with Mark Kable about his production of onions. He's got so many different types of vegetables, but I'm here to talk about everything there is with onions, so come and take a look. So Mark, Harvest Moon seems like a pretty serious operation. It's massive. What do you farm here?
Louis, we grow a lot of different crops. So the big ones are carrots, onions, broccoli. Then there's also a whole suite of other lines. There's beans, there's cauliflowers, there's cabbage, there's beetroot, there's Swedes. Then on top of that, just in our spare time, we also fatten a few cattle.
So you're up here on the far northwest of Tassie. Is it a good climate for growing vegetables? I can see the soil.
It's a great climate, even though today's not much of a day. But it's a maritime climate. We've got rich red volcanic soils, and they are magnificent for growing vegetables. In fact, we can grow virtually everything in this climate around here.
So Mark, we're in the onion Wonderland, and this is one of your biggest lines. Red, brown, yes. Any white?
No white, just red and browns. And you're right, I mean, onions are a huge crop, and especially the reds. This is some of our own genetics. We've got a breeding house in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's the basic kind of cycle of an onion?
Well, onions are a lot longer to grow in the ground versus a carrot. So again, most of it's around spring planting, summer harvest. In Tasmania, we're very fortunate, again, with our soils and our climate. Our long growing conditions mean we grow a very hard onion. The Tassie export industry's been going for over 40 years. Because we grow such a hard onion, we can ship it around the world.
And just tell me the process of when they come in.
So again, in Tassie, we're lucky we can cure our onions in the paddock, so that we undercut them and lift them. They're left there for 3 weeks to cure.
Really, just on top of the soil?
Just on top of the ground.
Oh wow!
And luckily, we don't get summer rain, so they can cure well. We bring them in here, and basically they go through there's a sizing and grading operation. Then there's whether they go into pre-packs or crates for the supermarkets, or we do a lot of exporting into a bulk 1.2 tonne bag.
1.2 tonne bag.
Yeah. So they get shipped all around the world in those big bags.
Yeah, interesting. So how old would an onion be by the time we receive it at home?
Well, look, it just depends on the time of the year. I mean, at the moment, these onions have probably been in the shed for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
But again, we can store such a really good onion, and we have onions all the way through until the next crop comes in Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a complete cycle.
52 weeks of the year, we can pack onions.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
the other thing about onions, of all the crops we grow, it's probably one of our hardest crops to grow and the most complex crop to grow. We get the biggest variation in yields from year to year in onions versus carrots or broccoli or beans. So they are complex.
They're humble, but they're tricky.
Lots of different layers to them, literally.
Oh, cool. Well, I might just grab a couple of these guys, and I got a pretty fun dish to cook. So
look forward to it.
I might grab a few of these, and I'll show you. And I think you're gonna like it.
Good stuff.
What an awesome morning with Mark. Seeing that onion facility, it was just unbelievable, even for a chef, the sheer volume. And I'm not talking about onions for Tasmania, onions for Australia, onions worldwide. So it was so impressive. And all those onions, smelling all those onions in that shed, it got me thinking onion, onion, onion. And I'm gonna cook a really, really fun dish that I ate for the first time when I was living in America, and my friends thought it would be a funny joke to take me to Outback Steakhouse because I'm Australian, and it actually turned out to be a really fun time, and I had a dish called the Bloomin onion, and I really enjoyed it, so the joke was kind of on them after that. This dish uses a really great salt and pepper spice mix, and you can put this on everything. So I really recommend making a big batch of this and just keeping it in the pantry for everything. As a spice rub on meats for a barbecue or in a marinade, it's great. So it's going to use sea salt, cloves, cassia bark. If you can't find cassia bark, use cinnamon, star anise, coriander seeds, chili, Szechuan peppercorn, and then just roast it in the oven, blend it up, and that is what you're gonna be left with. So just use this on everything. So we're gonna prep our onion first to make the Bloomin' onion. So it's kind of like a flower, and when it goes into the oil, it's gonna bloom up, and that's the kind of cool thing about this dish. So just cut evenly down the core of the onion, but don't go into the core. Just use this as a guideline and continue, quarter it, then go into eighths, then basically go in the middle again into 16ths. So then it can all petal out. So then we'll flip it over and then we'll open it like so. And then you can see how it's gonna eventually open up. We'll just stretch it out to make sure it's all separated and all almost the petals of the leaf, because we want to get all that batter and spice and everything in there. Okay, another cool must-have in your pantry is this Tempura Batter mix. So this is even parts rice flour, glutinous rice flour, and tapioca starch. So 1-1-1. And this you can do salt and pepper squid, you can do these onions, you can do any kind of tempura, prawns or vegetables. And to that, we're just gonna add some soda water, nice and cold and nice and fizzy. And that's gonna help the bubble process while it's frying. So it almost got me that time. I was too smart. So we're just gonna go into the bowl with the soda water, and then we'll just add some of our flour to that. And this is, with the salt and pepper squid, you'd probably want it a little bit thicker, almost kind of like a custard consistency. But with this onion, we really need to get it in between all the layers of the onion, so we might just do it a little bit thinner. So this is looking pretty good. We're just gonna have a look at the consistency, and that, I think, is gonna be great to cover this onion. Okay, so let's get our onion into our wet mixture and just coat it all. Really make sure you spread out all of these layers, so then that way it's all nice and crunchy. I've got my oil just here. It's been on for a little bit. It's about 180 degrees, so not too hot, but it will still get it nice and crunchy. All right. And then now we drain off, but just make sure everything's separated. And then into our dry mix. And this is where you really get in there and get the flour in every nook and cranny. And don't rush this process. Just take it nice and slow and make sure it's all completely covered. So once you think it's all nice and coated, shake off the remaining, and we'll go into the oil, flour side down. All right. And just let that cook for around 4 to 6 minutes till it really goldens up, and then we'll flip it again for maybe another 2 minutes. So we've been cooking away for around 5 minutes, and it's already starting to turn golden. And this is, it's kind of a good point. You know, an onion's never going to be the same. So, you know, obviously this onion has literally been pulled out of the ground, so it's really fresh. But an onion you get from the supermarket might be a little bit older. So even though it's a recipe, cooking's all about kind of keeping your eye on things, tasting things, and really the recipe is just a guideline, and you have to keep an eye on everything because it'll always be different. So let's turn this around. There we go. And then we'll just let that cook on the bottom. So we're going to serve a little spicy mayo on the side. So it's a really simple spicy mayo. It's just Japanese mayo. And it's about 1:4 ratio of sriracha. But if you like it spicier, just add more. Not as spicy, just add less. And mix that up. And this is another one, put it on everything. Put it on a chicken burger, have it as a side with fish and chips, squeeze it on rice. Today we're just gonna serve it on the side. And I'm gonna turn off our onion, scoop it up. So our onion's nice and golden, really crispy, which is great. Just gonna pop it onto the tea towel to soak up all that oil. We're gonna take our spice mix, and I like to do this off the plate, so then that way you can really generously add it all and season it up. And then I'm gonna bring our onion over. And there you have it, my salt and pepper Bloomin onion with spicy mayo. Just wanna thank Mark and the whole team at Rabobank for this awesome day, from start to finish of all onion production and growing and farming and love. And it created a great dish. So I'm really happy with this one, and I'm happy being down here in Tasmania. I'll see you next time.